So we're going to enter here, we're going to here. Now you can see, first of all, we have those tombstones that we call them the stele. The stele is also indication marks of the graves. So imagine all these tombs that we see outside. In each grave, when it was constructed, like this grave underground or so I'm waiting you for the light to adjust also the darkness into this light. And you can see all of them, they have something like a flower decoration on the top or something like a painting that you can at the entrance of the temples in the ancient times. Most of them are dated between 250 to 250, but those is 100 words. And you see some of them are also still preserved. It represents figures, it represents animals. Usually it was a representation of these tombstones as the breathings that we salute the deceased, like I said. So many of them, you see the colors are still preserved. And the interesting thing is that we have names that it's written in the period of Vergina and from Macedonia. So this data we have the name of Macedonia and Northern Greece. The word this name indicated as Macedonians, the tall ones. Before we continue, here on my left-hand side, there is also a maquette that it shows the whole tomb in order to understand as we enter here inside. You see how it was found the grave. To see of King Philip and Alexander. They have found two others, but now it's just in ruins that we're going to see. So it gives you a little bit an idea how all these graves it was found here. And all these tombstones, all these stele, it's all these small pits that you see here in the maquette that it was found in the area outside also the tombs area. So it was made graves in this side. So therefore now we're going to continue to the side of those tombstones.
She's coming over.
Yes, I'm here. It's just a little bit, the light is a little bit more mystic in order to, very mystic. You see also that it has the findings that it comes from those graves. Now, we're going to see the findings of King Philip on this side of the room, but first we're going to walk a bit to the left from here. Just if you come in this maquette, you can also see the way that this tombs, it was constructed. So it was like two rooms. It was like two chambers, the antechamber and the main chamber, the burial chamber, as we say. At the entrance, you see to the front that it has the columns, it has like metopes and tree leaves and the decoration of the frieze on the top. There is also a door in order to enter to the first room, the antechamber, and then it's the back room, but it's the main chamber where the deceased was placed. Now those tombs, we know that the dead, King Philip and the tomb of the Prince Alexander that we're going to see the other one, it was basically cremated. So they put in a larnax that it was placed inside those, let's say, sarcophagus, these marble constructions that you see, it's the sarcophagus, and inside the sarcophagus it was placed this golden larnax, as we call it, that it has the star of the Macedonians. They were buried with their weapons and their jewelry that they were wearing, and they say that in those years the deceased king, he was buried with his queen. So we have the findings in the antechamber from the queen. Mida was one of the wife of King Philip, and King Philip at the main chamber. And we have found also tools and weapons and basically vases that it was used in order to clean the deceased before they put them in the deathbed and burn them. And the ashes placed also inside some of the vessels. So it shows us here this one. You can understand a little bit how it was. We're going to explain a little bit more about this one. The other finding that we have here, and as we walk a little bit all around, to the left here and over there on the top, we have two more findings. One of them, it's a building, you can see it better from this balcony here all around the wall. So, like the one that I showed you at the maquette over there was another grave like that, another burial in this area. What is preserved from this grave, basically it's the column that it was at the entrance of this room. So remember the maquette that we've seen at the display case over there. So there were these like 4 columns that looked like a temple, and on the back it was the room that was the deceased. So it gives you a little bit of an idea also how these burials, how these buildings it was constructed. So some of the dead, they were just placed in deceased graves, and on the top, to indicate the graves, it was those stelae, the tombstones that we've seen. Some graves for the royal families, it was a whole building that looks like a temple. So this one, it was another one, it hasn't been identified with the king. They said it was one of the royal burials. And what we know is this one is called, okay, the grave number 4, they have given some names. The interesting thing, it's still preserved the columns from the entrance. They have made some restoration of the columns, as you see, that on the top it was this Doric style of the construction, and behind it was the chamber of the deceased. Here it shows also how it was this grave. At the door behind the corridor, we see you have the support pillars and the doors, as the space that it was on the top. And some of the findings from the graves, a really few of them, it's those made out of ivory. And that also showed us that it was, let's say, from the royal family. It's really small. If you see, they have also the faces of a Maenad and Dionysus, also the figure, the bird-marked Dionysus, the Maenad let's say, the follower of God Dionysus, and really brought in all the findings. And the ivory part is very interesting because we're going to see in the other graves as well. So then we'll continue a little bit. There are a few steps here. In order to see behind here, we have one more thing, just 2 steps, and then 5 more, and then we're going to go down to the left. If someone doesn't want to walk the steps on this side, it's just interesting to show you we have some walls over here from the other grave. The ruins that you see here, these local stones that you see that's fallen, it's from one of the Hedman. The Hedman was connected to the kings in the area that they were called the deceased people that it's independent as heroes. And then another grave, so this is the top number 1, this is called. Ground. So here, just to show you, this is from the grave of Persephone, and we identified it as the grave of Persephone because we have this mural painting, which is a really important finding that represents the production of Persephone and Pluto. So you see the chariot has a coat, a beautiful man with a hair, the red form, it shows the Prince Persephone that she's in an she was abducted. You see a young girl on the side of the chariot, the friend of Persephone. In front of the horses, there is another figure. This is Hermes, the god messenger that takes the chariot towards the underground. And on the other side, we have a sad figure that it was the mother, Demeter. If you remember a little bit about the story about Persephone and her mother, that they were in the area of Elefsina, and the underground opened, the god of the underworld came in the area of Elefsina, abducted the queen, and took her in the realm of the underworld, as they said. So we have the mother that she was sitting in a rock and that she was crying, desperate, finding her daughter. And the other wall representation is not really clear, but basically it represents 3 figures. One here, one in the middle section here, and another one over there. It's a little bit more destroyed one. So those are the face that basically is the face for Persephone, for the prince. The interesting thing about this finding is all the graves and the other ones that we're going to see, they have this so-called frieze at the decoration at the entrance, above the coins and above, let's say, the tree, above the tree.
That's what she looked like.
That usually has a decoration. Here, the first grave, it has this decoration of the abduction of Persephone. The King Philip decoration, it's not really clear because it has been destroyed a lot. It represents a hunting scene. And the other one, Alexander the Great, represents a chariot race, but it's not really clear. We're going to see it there. So this is really interesting to see the colors, the technique, the anger, the anxious, and all these feelings also that people really express. So it's really beautiful, the decoration. If it was preserved all of it in a good condition, it would be really impressive. You see the contrast between the drawn sketches and the colors of the cloth or the hair or whatever they hold. So it's interesting little bit. And the interesting finding that we have here, we have the finding that it comes from King Philip. We have this on the right hand side here. You see it's also part of the, let's say, the weapons and the armory that he was wearing. We're having the big armory of Philip. Here it's preserved some of the greaves. This was also like a place, Goritos it's called, where it was placed the sword of the king. And it was also decorated like a necklace that it was placed and decorate also the king. So it's interesting because most of them, as you see, it's made out of gold. The gold is really characteristic here in the area of the Macedonia, and it was part of the clothes that the deceased was wearing. So as we're going to continue, of this hunting scene, that it has representation of animals, of figures, of horses. They say approximately in the middle of the figures, it has some trees. In front of the tree there is a horse rider that he holds his sword. It's Alexander, a little bit to the left. And in the most destroyed part on the right side, it was represented King Philip. So they say that King Philip with Alexander, they went for a hunting, and the decoration at the grave of King Philip, the hunting scene, it was, let's say, colored, and it was represented at the entrance. This decoration and the technique of the decoration of this frieze, it resembles also with the most
entrance to King Philip II's tomb.